and welcome, Citrus Heights and the world. I'm Al Gonzalez, and you're about to get a jump start. It's the one and only Diane Ebbett.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to JumpStart Citrus Heights. I am Diane Ebbett, the Executive Director at the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce, and we have with me my co-host, which is Holden Vargas with FCA Financial, and our guest today is Mike Prestwood with Prestwood IT. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you, Diane.
Prestwood IT is our computer company. They work on all of our computers and help us with our IT issues. And believe me, when you've got two women working in the office who barely know how to enter a password, they have their work cut out for them. Mike, what else does Prestwood IT do?
Okay, so Prestwood IT Solutions is an IT company. We specialize in becoming your IT department, if at all possible. And we, our slogan is your full service technology partner. So we like to think of ourselves as an extension of your company. And so with us, you get a whole team of experts to handle all of anything IT that comes up, from buying a new workstation to hanging a monitor in a conference room to monitoring your computers using MSP technology. So we're an MSP, managed service provider. So we install an agent onto your computers that watches like 1,000 things about that computer, and we have an active issues queue. So we have staff that come in the morning and they have active issues, and so they can, behind the scenes, work on various things that are going on all of our clients' computers without ever even interfering with the client at all. So we kind of keep your computers going and like that. We also do maintain your website. So we do WordPress websites. So we have a division with dedicated staff towards that. And
Right.
we have a platform that we manage all of the updates and keep your website secure so that you don't get hacked.
Right. Wonderful. Holden, do you have any questions for Mike?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know you've been in the game a while. How long you been in the IT game, Mike?
Since 1984.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1995, I moved up here to the Sacramento area from the Bay Area, and I opened my business in 97 up here. So from 1984 through 95, I ran a programming company in the Bay Area, and then in 97, I opened up a programming company here in Sacramento, and then in December of 1999, we opened up an office here in Citrus Heights, and so we've been in Citrus Heights since December of 1999, and then in about 2000, we started doing websites right away. So we did websites and computer programs for to keep businesses running and like that, and then in 2007, we started doing tech. So we started supporting computers, installing servers, workstations, and like that. And that's when we kind of became a full service technology partner to our clients.
Yeah. So you really have, I mean, that's an unprecedented level of experience in my eyes. Yeah. I mean, you've been working in your industry for decades.
Yeah.
And how does that help you? I mean, I know for myself, I'm a young guy, so I'm like my parents' IT person. But how is it different for you? Because you're experienced and you know the game through and through.
How is it different in what way? What do you mean?
What are you doing for businesses typically that goes beyond just what I'm helping my dad with getting on his phone and computer?
Yeah, so when I first started supporting businesses, I was in my head, I'm thinking, okay, these businesses are all different. They're all distinct. They do everything their own way. And it is true that businesses tend to want to do things their own way. But the reality is they don't. And so although they might have their own way of doing certain things, every company can use our MSP platform with our agent installed to keep an eye on the smart technology inside of a hard drive so that we can anticipate when a hard drive dies before it dies. So we will proactively be contacting our clients whenever a hard drive fails. So hard drives can last 30 years. On average, they last like 10 to 12 years. It's going up. They might last 14 or 15 years now, but that's an average. So if you're buying computers, sometimes a hard drive dies within months, and it's very frustrating. Sometimes it's 2 years. Sometimes it feels like, well, that computer never died. It's been here 30 years. We're going to retire it because it's old, but the hard drive stayed forever. But there's chips in it on the hard drives called smart chips that watch the hard drive and will indicate before a hard drive's failing that it's going to be failing. The problem is you have to actually be watching that. Mm-hmm. And so our platform, our MSP platform, watches that and about 850 other things so that we proactively know. So instead of waiting for mom and dad to say, hey, help me, how to do this, which is what we would call break fix in the industry, or reactive support. So you have a problem, you call us. Hey, I forgot my password, help me out. Hey, email stopped working, help me out. Instead of doing that, our MSP platform is very proactive, and so it watches like about 850 things, and we will be working those behind the scenes. And of course, we take care of the basics, like we can remote into your computer and look at it with you and help you out with stuff. So we have remote control over your computers. We can move files back and forth if we need to behind the scenes without interfering with your computer. We take care of Windows updates. We make sure that all Windows updates are installed, and Windows Updates does update all by itself, sure, but if it stops updating, we'll know about it so we can proactively make sure that continues. But in addition to that, our software will audit all of the previous updates. So one of the things that hackers try to do is they try to uninstall an old update. So sure, your computer's up to date, but if they get in there and they figure out how to uninstall an old update, that gives them a window in, and then over time they'll figure out how to corrupt your computer. So even though you're up to date on Windows, if you're not auditing to make sure all of the updates are installed, you potentially could be infected that way. So our software does things like that. So it's a very proactive approach as opposed to a reactive, hey, help me do this, kind of a thing. Which we also do. We do break fix, of course.
Right. When we were talking earlier, you said you were an author. What was your book about?
I have 14 books that I've written so far.
I thought it was just one.
Yeah, and about 1,200 articles I've written. I've written 6 computer books, big fat programming books on database programming, on writing applications that track all the data for a business, for example, that type of a thing. I also wrote some drum books and some family history genealogy books.
Wow. So that's what you do in your spare time is write books?
Yes.
Or play drums?
Yes. My goal is to write a book a year for the rest of my life.
Wow. Right. Impressive. Yeah. And so do you sit down and start typing and then you have somebody who looks at it, or do you have somebody that you dictate to and they kind of do it?
Right. So there are kind of 2 ways to author a book. One is you can find a publisher like Sam's Publishing or McGraw-Hill. Those are the 2 publishers that I primarily work with. Or you can self-publish. So I have a number of projects going on where I do both of those things. Where so you can and so to answer your question more directly, yes, I do sit down and so writing a book is kind of like a whole topic unto itself, and I've written 14 of them, so I have a process I do go through.
Right.
My process basically is I like to follow my inspirations, and so when it's like when you wrote an essay in school, you had to do an outline.
Right.
And so for me, I focus in on the outlines of each book and the chapters and like that, and then I follow my inspirations, and then I kind of do the mechanics of what you have to do. Like you have to think of an introduction and a conclusion for each chapter,
Right.
And so the conclusion of one chapter should kind of lead into the introduction of the next one, and then I pick topics and you just kind of fill those in, and it's kind of a lot of jumping around. Like I have about 25 books that are kind of in various stages, of that type of inspiration thing that I just said. And so some of them are very, like barely, just a sketch, a book title, an idea, a couple of chapter titles, and then some of them are like 90% done. But I just don't feel comfortable publishing them yet, finishing and publishing them because I want to do more research on them. I do all nonfiction stuff, so so it takes a lot of time to research each thing so that you feel comfortable that you're presenting accurate information.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, what do you like best about doing business here in Citrus Heights?
Citrus Heights is a I really like the area, and like that. I like the clientele, the proximity to Sacramento is nice. We're only 14 minutes away, so for our clients that are in Sacramento, our office is at the right off of 80, right?
Yes, yes.
It takes 45 seconds to hop on the freeway, 14 minutes, and then we're at a location in downtown Sac. So that's nice, that type of thing.
Or even 20 minutes from Auburn, really, because you guys have the perfect location, being right there by the freeway.
Yes, yeah. So so El Dorado Hill clients are kind of a pain to get to. Sorry, El Dorado Hill
But he
clients.
still wants you guys as clients.
Yes. We do have clients out there, but it is a bit of a, it's like 40 minutes to get out there.
Right.
Where Auburn, which seems, someone might think, well, Auburn, that's even further. No, it's actually, it's 20 minutes.
Right.
Up on the freeway, we're there.
Right. What is your favorite program to work with? Because I'm sure there's different types of, for instance, WordPress. Are there different software types? For instance, my daughter and I had a disagreement on the phone. In fact, this morning. And I told her, she goes, okay, well, I'll just Google Doc you or something like that. Anyways, we're supposed to have like a Zoom meeting. And she says, well, just use the Google. I said, no, I don't like Google. I said, I like Zoom. I'm sorry, guys, but this is just me. I don't like Google because I am so used to Microsoft and Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and all of that, where my daughter hates Microsoft and loves Google everything, Google Drive and all of that. So do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, I do. So I hire lots of engineers and like that, right? And so we go through them, and they all have, well, we want to do Linux, we want to do Google Docs, we want to do this. So I always tell them that, hey, listen, nobody ever gets fired for choosing Microsoft, so we're a Microsoft shop.
Okay.
And so Microsoft tends to be best of breed. They're not always. So sometimes I'll hire somebody who says, we have to switch to this because it's slightly better than. I'm like, well, no, we need to stick with Microsoft. And like that, year after year, they're very consistent. So right now, the Office suite with Microsoft, we love to kind of help businesses utilize them better. So for example, Microsoft Word has a feature called workgroup templates. So we love to go in and set up workgroup templates for a business so that they can have a common set of Word templates that they all pull from, for everything from MOU, memo of understanding, to termination letters, to hiring letters. All that stuff can be in common if they make use of that one feature, and it's kind of dug in and hidden in there. But we love to come in and show people how to use that. And as far as the whole Teams versus Zoom versus all the others, we went with Teams.
Okay.
And a lot of our clients use Zoom still, so we're not, we don't insist that clients use what we recommend, but we have defaults. So if they say, hey, what remote software should we use? We say we use Microsoft Teams. Let us help you set that up. Here's how much it costs. Here's how it works. And we help them get set up with that. But if they come to us with Zoom, we're like, okay, that's fine.
Right.
Because they're all good.
Right. Holden, what is your favorite one?
Well, I mean, I've gotten so accustomed to Zoom for, conferencing, and it quickly became the standard, right, in 2020. But I'm adaptable. I do use Google for a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Just because I found it so simple on a consumer side, not a business side, to manage files and things like that. So for me, yeah, it's all about the ease, the convenience, and having a kind of Mod Podge of different things with Zoom and Google, and that has worked out for me. So, but I'm also one guy, right? I'm not a business with a team that has accounts and passwords and softwares that need to interact in a certain way.
So if you came to us, we wouldn't change anything,
right,
at all. We would just say, okay, great, let's use that, and then we would keep you in that area too. So if you wanted to do something, we said, well, here's the Google app version of that. Let's use that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
Nothing wrong with that at all.
It sounds to me like, and from my position is like, you're someone who's passionate about computers and IT, and you've written books on it, and that, and it's from my standpoint, it's like, well, the business owner can be passionate about their business. Let you be passionate about the computer and stuff. They don't necessarily need to be stressing about computers, because oftentimes, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but computers are stressful for me. Dealing with technology is something that has become more complex throughout the years. And certainly there's some simple aspects now, especially with touch screens and apps and stuff. But for the most part, I feel like we're constantly dealing with just the pains of being digitally connected to everything. You guys offer that solution of like, hey, don't worry about it. Let us worry about that.
Yeah. So our slogan is your full service technology partner. And so we want to take on the responsibility of keeping that running. On your thought on passion, though, by the way, so my biggest interview question when I'm hiring engineers, whether they're web developers or server techs or field techs, is I try to figure out if they're passionate about technology. So I'll ask questions like, well, how many computers do you have, and what do you do in your spare time, and stuff like that, because I want to, nobody's born knowing all this IT stuff, and so at the office I have a thing where I say, check your ego at the door, because none of us were born knowing this stuff. So the fact that you don't know something, or you know something and your coworker doesn't, leave your ego at the door, because none of us were born knowing this stuff. It's about the passion. It's about wanting to learn it and like that. And so that struck a thing with me, with the passion portion of that.
Well, and I had my original mentor, he talked a lot about, if you have something that you're getting into, in this case, we're talking about, you and IT, is like, this got to be something that you can talk about endlessly. It's got to be something that, if it comes up on the weekends, you're just like giddy to talk about it and that. And I very much feel the same way with what I do. So it's nice to kind of see that represented in others as well in their businesses. I did have another question, specifically with business owners. What today really is the biggest thing that business owners are overlooking with their technology? What's the thing that you're typically going in and saying, like, this is the thing that most business owners are struggling with or overlooking?
Well, okay, so in my company, I wrote a portal to run the company. So it's a custom written portal, and in it I have a tech roadmap and a website roadmap. So there's about 125 checkpoints on the tech roadmap and about 80 on the website roadmap. And so there's a whole path that we push people down. Obviously, anybody who goes into, talks to their parents or goes into a business and sees that their computer doesn't have AV on it, antivirus, of course you would be very passionate about that. Like, are you nuts? You need to have AV on there. And so for us, all those checkpoints kind of fall into that. It falls into, so we go way beyond AV, of course, so for us, we want you on our managed platform so that we can manage your computers and keep them going so that they're way less stressful. So for home users, we have, for $35 a month, we have our managed care for families. where we install our software and keep your home computers going. For businesses with 3 or less computers, we also use that managed care for families for them. For 4 or more, they're on our managed care for business, which is a slightly upgraded version of that, but it's kind of the same thing, but we do more stuff for you. And so we also do make sure that you have backup. And then, if you're an older company, you might be struggling with advertising. So we kind of introduce Facebook advertising and Google ads and things like that to them so that they understand how to promote their company. And we don't necessarily manage that for you. We'll kind of introduce it. We'll do some basic management, and either you manage it or we'll manage it with you as a team, or we'll help you find the right company to manage your Facebook ads and like that. And so there's like a whole slew of things that we could go through. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. Are you using electronic signatures? If you're in real estate, real estate, they would already be using that. But if you're a smaller company, you're still using paper contracts, and we'll set you up with DocuSign or Right Signature. Or there's a couple of different ones that we'd set you up with, and like that. So there's just a whole slew of those types of things that we run into, and it's a path. And so wherever you are in your company, we'll help you progress to that point, and then depending on your budget and desire, we'll keep pushing. Some clients we have are like, well, we know that technology will give us a technological edge over our competitors, so we want it all. Let's jump in the deep pool. Let's push as hard as we can on all this. And then other clients will be like, well, we're restricted by finances, so let's just take one step at a time. And, main thing we need you to do is keep the computers going. And then, but we still have this roadmap. We still kind of talk about, well, the next step for you, well, you're not really backing up your data. If you have a crash, there's gonna be an issue there, and so we keep track of all of that, and we keep pushing our clients toward the next thing. But it's their money; they get to decide what to spend it on. Our job is to be consultants, to be their IT department. And so if you think about it, if you have an IT department, those people in your IT department are still going to be saying, hey, we need to be doing this. Why aren't we doing this? And so that's our role, is that we say the next step for you is this. And then the business owners will have ideas, like they'll jump way far ahead in the roadmap and say, we want to do this thing over here. This is what's going to help us out. Okay, we'll do that. But we still have the roadmap that we progress through.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I like that. It's a nice, it's systematic, and it's designed to be palatable for the business owner, but also effective. So you're not just doing random things. I do notice that with the kind of advent of online advertising, that there was a influx of people who all of a sudden were website and marketing experts.
Yes.
And, hey, if you got the skills, you got the skills. I tend to wonder because people came up very, very fast. They don't have the decades of experience that you do. And on that, I wanted to ask you this, as you said you got into websites very early. So I assume you remember, but we'll see. What was your first website, and when was your first website?
So in 1999, I wrote a book, and in the back of the book, I featured Prestwood.net in a series of ads. So they let me put some full page ads in the back, kind of for my business, kind of,
right.
It was like as part of the negotiation for the book. This was for Osborne McGraw-Hill, and so they let me put a series of full page ads back there. So I created a website called Prestwood.net. And so Prestwood.com and Prestwood.net was probably my first websites. And then we started creating them for clients, of course. Because I was a programmer and people knew me as a programmer, they would come to me with custom websites. So we built a bunch of early .com websites, most of which died in the bubble, but we got to build a bunch of those, and that was in the probably. So my websites were the first ones that we built for ourselves, and then we probably started building in late '97, early '98. We started building websites for our clients.
Well, this has been a good talk. I've learned a lot more about you and your company. As you know, that the Chamber does use Prestwood IT Solutions for everything. We have them for our IT and also our website. So we really appreciate that. And Mike, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they contact you?
Well, they can go to www.prestwood.com. So
Okay.
our sales website is prestwood.com, and you can go there and find out how to get a hold of us. Our phone number, if anybody wants to write it down real quick, is 916-726-5675. You can call the office at any time, and someone will answer.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And Holden, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
It's good talking to you.
It's good talking to you, too.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.